Okay, well, how about this? Uh, how about uh, trademark Woolie's awful movie opinions segment? Can we do
All
another
right.
one? All
Yeah,
right.
we do one every time you watch a movie, so let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Did you
I watched.
dude, Don't Look Up is so deep because it tells you what you feel.
Damn, dude.
It's so deep.
Cool.
Did you get
Um.
it? Did you get it? It's about global warming.
Yep. So I watched Encanto, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I was lit. We were just talking about Encanto in this house 40 minutes ago
Yeah.
because I was using the TikTok and I looked over to the lady and I says, "Hey, lady," and she says, "Yeah," and I said, "Have you heard that Bruno shit?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." I'm like, "Can you mind if I watch it?" And she's like, "No, that song's great." So then I watched the Bruno thing and I'm like, "Should we watch this? This looks good." And she's like, "We should watch this. It does look good."
Yeah. It's pretty good. Um. I then and it made me realize well, there's two things about it. One, um the moment like the music kind of started, I kind of went, "Oh, wait. I haven't watched a musical in a really long time." And even the recent like 3D animations movies I've watched, like watching the Pixar movies, like yeah, they don't
Mhm.
do the musical stuff, you know? But
That's right.
um
Yeah, they don't.
yeah, well, so here's the thing, right? You have to realize that like Pixar's Pixar and they're still Disney owned, but the Disney Animation Studios movies are not Pixar, and those are the
Yeah.
ones with the musical stuff, and those are the ones that, well, sometimes at the very least, the Tangled and the such and the Frozen. Um, but yeah, you don't really realize that you're like, oh yeah, the music moments and the parts where they get ready to start singing. You don't really get those in the Pixar movies, really. Um, so in here, you're like, yeah, and, fun songs, good stuff. I realized that like I in everything, like I love a bunch of old Disney movies that have like fucking, like Lion King's fucking great and all the
Mhm.
music and stuff.
Mhm.
But I realized like the part that I find the funniest is the transition in between the real life or the movie happening and then the song getting ready to start. There's always
Yeah.
a weird moment of you don't know a song's about to start here, and everyone starts talking and acting a little weird, and you're like, what is
I don't
happening?
know
There's the beat.
about that. Man.
Man,
What are you
man,
talking about, dude?
and it starts a little like the things just kind of slowly lead in, and then the background music builds up. You're like, oh, we're starting a song, you know. But it's that I can see what's happening. What? And they don't have a clue. Who? Like the fucking in between moments are always just a what is happening? Oh God, music. Right. Okay. Cool. And then yeah, the Bruno song's fucking. It's a catchy one. Um, and yeah,
I'm a big fan of songs that are 5 songs, and at the end, they're like, why don't we just overlay every single fucking song on top of one another?
mm,
What if
yeah,
I did that?
those are good. When you do
I like that. I don't know what that's called.
in the round, it's when you go in the round at the end of a song.
Okay, cool.
Um, and then the there's a thing that there's a thing I have about when I'm watching a story sometimes where well it was in the end like it totally makes sense, but I had a moment of confusion, I guess, about like what's happening. And you said you're gonna watch it, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So um there basically there's a you know how like when a world gets introduced, and then you kind of go like, okay, there's the setting, and then the characters are in the setting, and then like
Mhm.
let's say you're introducing, I don't know, like Harry Potter, right? there's
Yeah.
there's the world, and then there's magic, and then there's the people, and then like you kind of try
Yeah.
to figure out how they use that stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, you gotta
um
get over the fact that, it's British.
Sure. Yes. Exactly. And so in this case, it was one of those bits where like because of the way the magic is kind of introduced in this, I was kind of like, I was I thought it was I was waiting on like a sort of like an outside explanation for things, and then
Mhm.
there wasn't, and it's a lot simpler than that. But it makes me realize that like when in the absence of information,
Uh-huh.
I assume that there is a system like the one I just described in place, and that's not always going to be the case in stories.
Are you disappointed with the lack of lore in Encanto?
Not at all. That's not what I'm saying. No, no, because it makes perfect sense, and the end, it's the whole thing's about family, right? It's you're going to see that giant cast of characters, which they do a pretty amazing job. Like you see a whole bunch of them, and you're like, that's so many people. How am I gonna? And then at the end, you're like, oh, I know who everybody is. It's like you completely get used to all of it, you know.
Yeah, as somebody who's not from a big family, like seeing stories that feature huge families have always been like super hard for me to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of my grandma's funeral when I went out to fucking Joliet. And my dad's like, here's your aunts. And I'm like, what? And it's like, here's my 8 great aunts that I've never met. Because a couple generations ago, every single member of the family had literally 10 to 15 kids. And these are the ones that survived into their 80s. And I'm like, hello? And like they rattle off the names, and I'm like, bro, I
Yeah,
have
no,
zero shot here.
no.
I have no chance.
Yeah. No, that is a trained skill that like you can practice to be good at like meeting people, faces, networking, and all that jazz. And apparently, it's something that like that politicians do, is like train to see a face, hear a name, and then create an instant burn in that never goes away. So that if you see like the person years later, they still remember. Like I heard that about like something about like Obama, where someone met him once and then like years later met him again, and he's like, can you remember their name completely? And it's like, oh god, that's just some
Well, it's because the
crazy
CIA
shit.
has a chip in the president's head that feeds them the info from the deep net.
Naturally.
But on top of that, dude, in that particular situation, I know this is off topic, but like, because all of these are aged French ladies, they've all kind of like aged into the same person.
Mm. Mm-hmm,
They're
mm-hmm,
all
mm-hmm.
they're all 4'8" to 5 foot. They all have the same styled gray hair. They all have the same accent. They speak zero English because they're out in Joliet, right?
Mm.
They saw my mom and went, "Oh, regardez ça, c'est un Anglo. Oh, bonjour." And my mom was like, "What do they say?" And like, they're very surprised to see you. They're very, you're like a zebra.
That's funny. Yeah. Anyway, so though there's just a little bit of like as the story's kind of going on, me going like, what, like how does the magic work, and like what's making those things that they're going through happen, and then it's like, oh shit, it's yeah, okay, it's a lot more of a closed circuit than
Is it a rock?
it's a candle.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
Fine, sure.
Mm-hmm. But really, it's family.
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 It's
That's the
all
most
about
important part.
family.
Family, though, right? Never ever forget your family. So yeah, it's a fun one. And Disney Animation Studios has successfully made it so that most people's brains are not going to distinguish between a Pixar and a non-Pixar movie when they drop. Your brain is just gonna, yep, it's one of those, you know. So like, if I say, I don't know, Brave, is that a Pixar movie or is not a Pixar movie, or is it Disney movie?
It's a Pixar movie.
It's a Pixar movie. But if
I could. Yeah. Okay. After you.
You can tell them.
I can tell them apart with one distinction.
Yeah.
It's the level of color saturation present in the image.
Okay.
Pixar movies have a more naturalistic tone, whereas the Disney animation ones are more saturated.
Okay. So the thing that came to mind, and you know, Punchmon brought this up, is when it seems like it's like a Disney princess, you're going to assume it's a Disney animation, right?
Mhm.
Which I think Brave counts as, but not explicitly, because like obviously they, you know, then you go like Moana, right? And that's not a Pixar. That's a Disney animation, and Zootopia
Yeah,
and all
because
that.
she's a Disney princess.
Yeah.
She's got an animal
Um.
companion, doesn't she?
So yeah, but I feel like they've successfully made a blur in our heads about like which one's which. Not to mention the characters' art style, like the you know, the designs.
Hmm.
Well, there's some exceptions, but like for the most part, they also have a unified look between the two that you're like, oh yeah, okay, like it all fits together. Um, yep, Encanto.
That wasn't a shit movie opinion. Are people hating on Encanto now?
No, I don't think so. Um,
Yeah.
I would I would well, if you know, when you see it and you give your thoughts, I might elaborate a little more on
Oh, okay.
the part I'm talking about in terms of the like the magic stuff, but that's all there. And hey, it's got a cool muscle girl. She's strong, and okay,
I
just
saw
you
her
know,
song also. That bit is cool.
yeah, her song is the second famous song, I
I
think.
will say though, I gotta say, and this is as somebody who like watched a lot of the Disney musicals as a child, there's a real difference in the how do I put this? Like you look at like Little Mermaid or like Notre Dame or whatever, and it's like the musical parts of it are performed and choreographed like opera or musical theater,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like the new stuff is
I think I know what
music
you're gonna
video,
say. Yes,
and
yes,
it has
yes.
super highly choreographed
Absolutely.
popping dance.
No, now listen up real careful, because there is a segment of her song where you can see the TikTok dance start
Yes,
and
yes,
end. And
yeah,
it is
100%.
absolutely clear where they want you to begin the TikTok and to stop the TikTok. It's
Yes, that's
super
correct. Yeah.
obvious. They have absolutely leaned into that and thrown out whatever you're thinking of with the there's no moment in the chandelier dance scene, you know, in
Mhm.
Beauty and the Beast, where you're like the TikTok starts and ends here. It's just a
Where
fucking
Belle just starts doing the kicks with the hand thing.
you know, like it is very it is very very obvious. Like a lot of the visuals and like colors shift, a spotlight drops, you know, and then the choreography begins, and it's very much like
Yeah.
put your camera vertically here, stand back, get yourself in frame, and you know. So
You know,
expect it's kind of like when you it's not dissimilar to when you see videos that are or shows that have a moment that's made to be gift,
100%. Yeah.
like Teen
Like,
Titans Go,
hmm
or
Tim and Eric.
or me pulling the camera in and whispering "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, that you knew what you were doing.
Cheers.